This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Does this describe you? You feel kind of stuck. Life is okay, but there's something inside of you that is saying, all right, this relationship may not be exactly the way it should be, or may not be right for me, or maybe your job situation. It's okay. You're earning a living, supporting yourself and your family, but that's not it. There's more out there, but you can't put your finger on it. You haven't figured that out. Maybe that's your higher self calling you, saying, you got more. You've got magic within you. You just haven't tapped it. How do you find it? How do you get unstuck in many of these situations? We're going to talk about that today. Finding peace as well. Oh my gosh. I have a gratitude journal. I wrote in it today. First item out of 3. I'm grateful for peace. I'm not even making that up. She helps us walk that journey and have those realizations of what our purpose is, and essentially getting unstuck and so much more. Spiritual guidance coming from Ruth Wilson, who joins us on the program today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well today. I'm having some very peaceful mornings lately.
I'm so happy for you.
Which is a miracle these days.
You know, I'm very transparent, and we learn from other stories. Today, I had a little extra time. So I took some time, got a cup of coffee, couldn't go to the drive-thru, was like packed. So I walked into the Starbucks and I'm sitting there, I order my coffee, and the angle of the sun hitting the counter just felt so good. And I looked at it, I stared at it, maybe I meditated. I transported to 2 years ago when I took a little weekend getaway to Florida and used to, I don't have anything to worry about. I'll get myself a cup of coffee. I felt like I was there again. I felt that peace. But there was a time where I wasn't feeling peace, but I didn't know what that was. You know, people would say, you go to church. I'm not very religious, but you'd hear, peace be with you. Peace be with you. I don't know what they were talking about until you figure this peace thing out. Is that part of the secret to really realizing who you are, finding some calm in your life?
I think it's the other way around. I think when you find out who you really are, you understand where that calm comes from and how much of you is really composed of love, which is pretty peaceful. Not always. It can be pretty active too, but it's almost always a delightful sort of thing to have welling up in you. And a lot of times I look at the news lately and I go, why am I even here? What am I doing here? Am I helping anybody? And it's when that peace and love comes up within you, you begin to see, oh, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. You probably had some effect on somebody in Starbucks this morning.
Actually,
and you think, yeah, but it was nothing much, but it was a lot.
You know, the woman behind the counter had an effect on me because I'm one of thousands of customers over time. She remembered my order from way back. She goes, decaf, right? I'm like, yeah. Like, whoa, that felt good. Like, I guess she remembered, She didn't have to do that. And I thanked her. I said, thank you so much for remembering. And she's like, how many pumps? I'm like, have unsweetened vanilla. I'm like, I don't know. Give me one more than you normally would. You're the expert. And I trust her. Do you feel, Ruth, that many of us, we don't know why we're here? We call it the purpose, our higher purpose. I want to say this first. It's my belief that we're all born with a purpose. We were given this purpose to help others, whatever it is. Maybe some of us haven't figured out what it is. Do you think that's what's going on?
I do think that's what's going on. I think that's what's always going on. I don't think we always know it consciously. Yeah. And I think it's the whole equation is getting, I don't know, heated up a little bit lately because the world is very dramatic, and we feel very often afraid worried, concerned. It seems like we might be victims, and we hope we're not. And it's my belief that we're not victims. We're here for a reason. That belief gets tested quite a bit. I have my own issues with it, but in the last year, I think I heard an intuitive voice say, you need to up the ante a little bit. World's kind of a terrible place to be sometimes. You need to be a little kinder to everybody. And I thought, oh, me? But I've got a lot to do. But I started following that, and it really does help. I really think we're here to make each other's visit on the planet different than it would have been otherwise.
You mentioned a word, and I want to put a microscope on it. You heard a voice, call it your intuition. Do you believe that we have a power, this intuition thing, but we don't know how to use it? Many of us, we don't know how to listen to it.
Yes, I know we do. I used to work in management, and I had other managers come to me all the time and ask me what was my take on this other employee and what was my gut about the new policy that we had. None of those guys would have fessed up to being intuitive, but they all were. And they came to me because they knew I had pretty good intuitions, and I didn't even know it at the time. I know we all have great intuitions, and we don't know how to use them. We're taught to use our intellect. Intellect is great. It's really useful, but it doesn't give you the whole picture.
When you get something through your intuition, i.e., we got feeling, what's it feel like for you?
It could be a bunch of different things. That's really hard to pinpoint until you've experienced it a number of times. It's like falling in love. What does that feel like? I know it's happened to me. It's happened to you probably. But you get so that you just have a knowing. I have a knowing. I hardly ever hear voices. Once in a while, I hear a voice that tells me something. I think that's when the intuition wants to get your attention and knows that you might listen if it talks to you in your mother's voice. But a lot of times it's just a sense of, oh, I need to go left here, or keep an eye on that intersection, that kind of thing.
I found in my journey, reverse engineer it. All the times I ignored it, I was wrong. And I could go back 30 years, big life moments where, you're too far this way to deal with that. Just keep going the way you're going. Meanwhile, intuition was saying, bad idea. Don't do that. Bad idea. But I didn't know any better. But now I look back and all those moments, I was like, yeah, should have listened.
Now I bet you do. And I think the other thing that's important to point out is it's almost always not scary. Intuition will tell you something scary, like stop for that red light now. Don't go in that alley, but it won't tell you anything scary like, oh, you should be very afraid right now. It'll just tell you what action to take.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way.
I learned to because I was scared a lot. And I had to learn that that's not your intuition. That's something else.
Would you say that could be just whatever's in you, that we're still here, right? So that we always want to be safe. So we're always going to, gravitate toward something that is safe. Unfortunately, that also means not changing. You don't change. You don't have transformation. You don't move on. You're stuck. I never thought of it that way. Like your intuition will never scare you. It'll tell you, do that. Make sure you go that way. You find it's a lighter feeling. Like when you get something, it's like the first one they say, some say that, and then it just seems lighter.
Not always. I always feel lighter after I follow it.
Okay.
But the intuition itself may or may not feel light. It feels kind of certain, like To me, it always feels like a loving parent kind of saying, you know what you have to do. You know what you have to do. And it might be something I want to do and it might not. But you know what you have to do.
Okay, I have to agree with you with everything here, but really on that point, later in life, that's what I hear. You know the right answer. That's what I hear in my head. Yeah, you know what you got to do. Truth told, many times, I'll say, no, I don't wanna. Or what if I do that? Then this could happen, and I'm afraid. Fear is everything. So I'm afraid of what could happen if I do that. But I know I should do that. But I'm afraid to do that. How do you get past that? Like that, I think that's a big thing for us.
I think sometimes you just have to take the step. And I think I have the advantage of being old enough and having tried it enough that I have followed a lot of intuitions, and the skies so far has not fallen on me. Even when I wanted it to sometimes.
You think it comes down to having faith? And I don't mean that you can mean it in a religious way, but I'm not going there. I just mean, having faith, having that trust.
Yeah, I do. And I think that, there's a big gap between faith in the Almighty and faith in your judgment and faith in your intuition, and they're all a little bit different. But it's the same kind of faith you have when you jump in your car and drive somewhere lickety split. You know how to do it, and you can do it quickly, and you can be safe doing it most of the time.
And you feel comfortable. You feel comfortable doing it. When we talk about our purpose in life, do you feel that many of us, we don't know what it is? We're just going through life, the hamster on the wheel. We're just doing life. I guess they say we're not thriving, we're just surviving. Do you feel that there's so much more out there than we've even realized, or we're capable of so much more?
There's huge amounts that we're capable of and that we don't pay attention to. That we see and don't notice. I, among other things, teach people to use their creativity, and I think if you use your creativity more than you've been encouraged to in our society for the most part, you'll find pretty quickly what your purpose is, because it's your genius, and we all have it, even though we all insist that we don't. I don't have any genius.
So let's talk about that, because I think that word maybe is misunderstood when you say to somebody, yeah, use your creativity. And they're like, I can't draw, I can't paint, I'm not creative, I can't do that. I believe we're here for essentially 3 reasons: to create, to learn, to teach. We create. That's why we created ourselves. That's why we're still here. How do you define creativity?
Bringing something into being that wasn't there before. It's not problem solving. It's creating something that you want to have existent. And the beauty about creation that we aren't often taught is it's all about your love. You create things for the most part that you love. And if you try to create something you don't care about, it's going to be kind of unpleasant experience. But if you create something you love, even if it's not pleasant. Last week or a couple of weeks ago, I created with a relative a funeral. Not happy, but we created it with love, and we honored the person who had passed away, and it was very beautiful, and it came together and was meaningful to people. That's a creation. I do watercolors. That's a creation.
Sure. Well, this goes back to when you hear somebody say, yeah, grandma cooked that. She put love into it. It's so much better. Why is grandma's cooking so great? She puts love into it. She'll even say, I'll put love into it. And it's radically different than just somebody churning out a meal, maybe at a restaurant. If they weren't intentionally, like you say, putting love into something. When we say that, is that an energy that we're putting into it? The energy of love?
I suppose it is. I mean, I've seen energy do some interesting things in my life. So yeah, it could well be, or it could be that Grandma makes different decisions with her meatballs than I do. It could be a lot of different things go into it, different attitude, different shopping trip. I mean, when you create, you kind of go at the whole process in a different way if it's your particular creation.
How did this all happen for you in your journey? Were you at one point stuck and then found a way to get out of it and then wanted to help others?
I've been stuck at many points. I would say I started out life very intuitive and being told I was mainly wrong. And I've tried to fit in business, and I've tried to fit in New Age, and I've tried to fit in intuitive reading, and I've been stuck over and over and over again until I started being myself, which means I started being creatively and intuitively myself, listening to my own intuition, following it if it made sense, creating what I really love to create, expressing my love in different ways, doing what I'm good at, all those things that we're encouraged to not do anymore. I don't know if we ever were. We've been encouraged to go look at social media and see what somebody else is doing, or to do it with AI, which could be a lot of fun, but it might not be your kind of fun. It's certainly not mine. It might be somebody else's.
I learned these three words not long ago. You talk about social media. To go, we might be directed to go there or feel that we want to. Comparison steals joy. What happens when you're on social media? It's people I'm not being negative, but it's usually people posting things they want you to see. You're not seeing the back end of it, of what they're going through, maybe struggles. They have that vacation up there and you're like, oh, no, I can't afford that now. Well, you don't know. They may have saved for 10 years for that vacation, but you looking at it and comparing yourself to it, it's taken away from you, stealing your joy.
It may not be even social media. I think whenever we human beings get together, we have a tendency to want to show people certain parts of ourselves and certain aspects, and not show ourselves maybe for who we really truly are. And creativity is all about really being quite authentic. It's being the way you were designed to be.
Do you feel that when we're born, we are who we were meant to be? All right, so we're an infant. And let's say you were supposed to be a surgeon. Well, you can't do it at that point, but that's what you were destined to do. But then life gets in the way. Yeah, you're a child. You experience things. You hear things. You internalize things, and that kind of throws you off your path. But when we're born, we're the purest. We are who we're supposed to be.
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know if anybody does.
I had a son, and he was pretty much who he was supposed to be right from the start. He was no blank slate that I've ever seen. And yet I truly believe in free will. I truly do. But I've seen people, I have a brother who we knew from the minute he was born that he was going to be a doctor. I've known other people who wander around like me going, what am I supposed to do when I grow up?
I've been doing what I've been doing since I was a kid. So when you say that, I don't see the other side of it. So I can't relate to that. I wanted to do this since I was like 8 years old. So I guess that maybe I was destined to. I don't know. But authenticity, you said that word, and that resonates with me. Do you feel that if we are truly our authentic self, we're going to be the happiest ever?
That's a good question. I think the short answer is yes, but the long answer is happy. I don't know. I do know when I teach people to use their creativity and use their higher self to create a life for themselves, they're more satisfied. They're not always happier. When you're creating something that you really love, say you're creating a book club, something as mundane as that. If you really love it and you're creating it and it goes completely wrong, you're still going to enjoy creating it probably to a huge degree. Whereas if you're given a job in an office building, filing something in a filing cabinet, or we don't use filing cabinets. Well, sometimes we do.
I still got them.
Yeah, carting boxes around hallways and stuff like that, and it goes wrong, you're probably not going to have a very good time. So anything that's authentically yours is going to be way, way, way more satisfying, even if it goes badly. I mean, I liken it to your creation to your children. Like, I'm interested in my son, whether he's being easy to get along with or not. You know, I'm interested in him when his life is going well, when it's not going well. I care very much what happens to him all the time. And I don't feel that way about the guy next door.
Well, you have a connection, and probably an energetic one as well.
It's all about love.
You know what? Yes. Back to grandma. She put love into the dish. Somebody comes before you and they say they're stuck, and they, just everything we're talking about, it's something's missing. Okay. Life's all right, but something's missing in their life. What would you do with them? What's your suggestion?
I would probably, more than suggest something to them, is teach them how to focus their consciousness in their heart center, get out of their head, get out of their intellect, and start accessing their intuition and get some answers, the best answers there are. They won't believe me at first, so I would let them practice for a little bit until they get the picture and realize that they just had 6 good ideas, and they feel way calmer than they did when they came to see me.
Do you feel that we should ask for answers, even from ourselves? Intuition, I believe is the first thing I ever wrote down in my journey when changes in life and everything about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 coming up on. All I need is within me now. Like, even the answers, you got it. You know the answer. You just got to get it out of you. You have to hear it, call it your intuition, whatever it is. Do you find that we should just ask?
Yeah, but I think you got to be careful to ask the right part of yourself. It's really important to have your energy be coherent, and getting out of the head can help do that. I practice something called heart math, where you imagine you're breathing through your heart center, and it's wonderful in that you simply feel better instantly, whether it does you any intuitive good or not. But the truth is, it really, really helps you get better intuitions.
I've heard of that before, a long time ago. Would love to reinvestigate that, the heart math concept. And it's been around for a long time. It's been proven as well, right?
Very simple and very effective. But, yoga works the same way. Anything that makes you calm, regular meditation is a good thing.
Ruth, how do we contact you? I know this can be a little deep for some, but it really is. It's the answer to moving your life forward and being who you want to be, being who you were destined to be. How do we contact you?
The best way to contact me is go to www.ruthwilson.org. And there you can contact me, make an appointment with me. Anybody can get a hold of me and find out how I can help them for free. So that's available to anyone, and look around at my site and see what kinds of things I offer.
You've got a lot there about expanding creativity, intuition, as we said, getting inspiration. You have a lot of insight, even a great blog on there. So simply ruthwilson.org.
Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you for being here today. There's lots to talk about, even going down the road of heart math and all of that. And this stuff works. I know for some this is a little woo out there, but this is once you get on the path of authenticity, figuring out who you are, using these skills, these superpowers that we were born with, intuition, things can change for the better very quickly. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.